Yeah, we back, baby. Keeping it real, Who That Sports Pod. Dolph Jackson, Coach Rock, presented by the Come On In Sports Network. Who That Nation, how you doing? Come on in. Take a seat, it's all good, you're amongst friends. Breaking news, interviews, Saints Juice. Open lines up just for you. 9 ball, 10 ball, where you at? 12 ball, 15, where you at? 3rd ball, 17, where you at? 9th ball, all the way in the back. Uptown, baby, downtown, baby. Everybody represent black and gold, baby. Uptown, baby, downtown, baby. Everybody represent black and gold, baby. Who that? Who that? Who that saying they gon' beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Who that saying they gon' beat them Saints? Who That Nation, how you doing? Come on in. Take a seat, sit back, relax. Put your feet up, grab a drink, and let's talk Saints football. Y'all know what time it is. Time to keep it real. Let's go. What's going on, family? The doors are now open, so you already know. Come on in. What's going on, family? It's your boy, Dolph Jackson, baby. Back in the building, baby. I know it's been a minute. Hey, man, glad to be with you here tonight, family. I know we're running a little late, man. But hey, we here, man, and what I like to do tonight, man, we're going to recap the entire 2025 season, man. We're going to talk about from the beginning to the end, man. I'm talking about to the hiring of our current head coach to the end of the season, man. So let me change something right quick. So we gonna talk about a lot of stuff tonight, man. And just glad to be back with y'all, man. Hope everybody's staying warm. Man, this weather's been crazy, but as you know, your boy Dolph was at the Senior Bowl. I was only able to be down for one day this year. But in that one day, man, I did have the honor of speaking with the American head coach, our very own assistant head coach and running back coach, Mr. Joe Thomas. And video quality wasn't good, family, but I fixed it up for us, baby. But here's my conversation with Coach Joe Thomas at the Senior Bowl. First of all, Coach, thank you. Who that, baby? Who that? Listen, Dolph with Coach Thomas, baby. Y'all already know how we do it, baby. Look, but first of all, Coach, congratulations on this big honor. But let me ask you this. When you received the call to be head coach, what was that moment like for you?
Honestly, I was sitting there having lunch with my wife. It was the day off. And I'm like, oh, the Senior Bowl is going to call. Yeah. And within like 2 seconds of that conversation, they called. And it was Drew Fabianici called. Said, hey, you're going to be the head coach for the American team. I was like, right on, brother. Let's go. Let's get this thing going now.
And now we know what a big deal it is for these kids to get here in front of administration and management and coaches. But for you, an aspiring coach, that one day, you're already well respected around the league. But one day, you're going to, I assume your aspiration is to one day lead a franchise. And this week, you get the opportunity to show those who make those decisions, hey, I can run the team as a head coach.
Yes. Well, it's a tremendous opportunity. Like I've told everybody, we're on the front end of the draft, and we're the first group to really get our hands and our eyes on the prospects here in a manner that we can evaluate them. So I don't take that lightly at all. And then, like, I have aspirations. We all do. If we don't, then, like, what are we doing? Like, I really I love leading. Right. I love being in the room, the camaraderie you develop. And the pitfalls you have to go through, you know, like a hard season. And then when you come out on the other side, when you weather the storm, there's nothing more rewarding. And, you know, had a great time with these players. They've been incredible. You know, all they want to do is get better. And their attention's been incredible. And now we just got to put it to the field on Saturday.
Being New Orleans Saints,
yes,
you get to see possibly a new member of your team here up close and personal. So what is one thing that you would want these young men to take away from them from this experience this week?
Mainly how to be a pro, you know, as far as how they carry themselves, how they prepare, the notes, the taking care of the body, all that stuff. I mean, it's it's the job now versus college football. Obviously, it is what it is. But like this is the job. There's nothing else that matters. Obviously, your faith and your family do.
Yes,
but it's all intertwined, and hopefully they can take that away from this experience.
Well, last year we got our quarterback here our franchise quarterback.
Oh yeah, we got a QB.
We got our
Shough.
QB. We got Mr. Shough in the
Had a couple guys from here.
Yeah, we got a couple guys. Great draft class. Great draft class. So as you head on out for the game Saturday, what are you looking to take away from the game? As far as when you evaluate a player, let's go to your position. Running back. What are you looking for?
Really, the game you want, because everybody, like, we had 9 hours of meeting, 6 hours of practice. So you want just a clean game. Take care of the ball, no procedure stuff. Just so we can operate and function and create an evaluation. A lot of heavy lifting was done this week as far as like the technique, the work, the grind, all that stuff. So the game, we're gonna probably deal with elements. So like how do they respond in those elements, and how they respond with no coaches on the field to direct them.
Well, Coach Thomas, thank you, and I appreciate it. And like always, you already know. Come on in and who that, baby?
Who that, baby? Let's go.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate you. Have a good one.
All right, family. That was assistant head coach of the New Orleans Saints and running back coach Joe Thomas. He served as the head coach for the American squad at this year's 2026 Panini Senior Bowl. Want to thank Coach Thomas, man, for taking out the time to speak to us, man. Class act gentleman. And the question that I asked was about aspiration of coaches, because when we think about the Senior Bowl, we think about the big opportunity, the big stage for these young men who have dedicated their lives to playing the game that they love, the game of football, and their dedication and their talents and their drive has gotten them to this stage where they're in front of the big wigs, the decision makers, all the scouts, all the head coaches, owners, everybody, evaluators. Everyone is in Mobile, Alabama. This is the all-star game to be at. And what I think sometimes goes overlooked is who gets appointed as the coaching staff. And there were a number of Saints coaches on the American coaching staff this past weekend. But I say that to say this, that just like this is the biggest interview for the young men coming to Mobile, this begins their interview process. First, there's their resume, which is their game tape. Then it's coming to these practices in Mobile or in Dallas for the East-West Shrine game or the All-American Bowl or the Hula Bowl. And then after that, if they're fortunate enough to be invited to the NFL Combine, then there's the pro days. Then there's, being called in to team facilities during the draft process to go into the facility, sit down one-on-one, maybe for the second, maybe for the third time with a particular team. But I asked the question because there are a lot of coaches who are not fighting, but who are very good at what they do and looking to advance in their career. And Coach Thomas is no different. Excuse me. When you think about it, you think about here's a gentleman who's been one of the better position coaches in the league. He's well respected around the league, and he loves the game of football. He loves teaching the game of football, and you can see that. Listen, here's the details. You can tell that just from the one day I was there and just listening and talking to some other people that were there throughout the week. The American squad they put just a little bit more into preparing their team. They were very impressive by the way that they conducted the practices. It was lively, and the team they matched their coach's energy, man. So again, thanks to Coach Thomas for that. And let's go to chat, see who's in the building right now. I see my brother. He's here, baby. Come on in, Uncle Jerry. How you doing? Jerry's in the building. Come on in. Who else is in the building? Bayou Hurricanes. What's up, baby? Come on in. Bayou Hurricanes in the building. Who else is in the building? Mr. Tim Dunn is in the building. Tim, how you doing? Come on in. Uh-oh. It ain't Booker T. It ain't the booking, baby. Booker ranking. How you doing? Booker, come on in. Booker's here, baby. Thank everyone who's here. Thank my blue man. Let's see. Jerry and Dolph got some bad news. Bayou Hurricanes is done. But I got y'all with Acadian Special Athletes of Louisiana. This kids with disability. Man, sorry about the hurricane season coming to an end, man. But hey man, that's a great thing right there, man. That's a great thing. Keep up the great work, Blaze. Just Blaze. Blaze is in the building. Who That Wallace is in the building. What's going on? Who That Wallace? What's going on, my brother? Thank you for being here. He is in the building. All right, family. So look, like I said, man, we gonna talk about it. Where we are now to where we began. Let's go back and let's talk about and reflect on when we were at the stage that 10 teams this offseason were at, trying to find us a head coach. Well, it looks like the Raiders, like Clint Kubiak, will be named the head coach of the Las Vegas, of the Las Vegas Raiders. Looks like he's going to be named the head coach of the Raiders as early as tomorrow. Last year at this time, we heard Aaron Glenn. We heard Joe Brady. We heard Mike McCarthy. We heard who else we hear? We heard what's the guy's name? It slips my mind right now. But you know what I'm saying, fam. We heard all these names, and then people start pulling out, and it was like, hey, the Saints were the least attractive job in the NFL last season. I'm gonna say this. I'm glad we went through that stage last year, family. I'm very glad we went through that stage last year because there were more openings this year. 10 openings, unexpected openings. And I'm gonna be real with Anthony Weaver, who, by the way, thank you, Hurricane Mike. Hurricane Mike's in the building. Hurricane Mike, come on in. So when you think about it, I don't believe Kellen Moore would be the head coach of the New Orleans Saints today if what transpired this offseason transpired last offseason. If the Steelers job opened up and they were interested in him. New Orleans, Pittsburgh, stability, what do you think? Baltimore, did we see that job coming available? Want to go to Sunshine State, warm climate. What about Miami? Another job. Arizona. Endo, beautiful facility. But the main two, Buffalo. Chance to coach MVP Josh Allen. Who is to say that Kellen Moore would have chosen the New Orleans Saints? Now, I'm gonna say this. Once again, I just said it, but I'm gonna say it again. Kellen Moore, and I really believe that Kellen Moore would not be the head coach of New Orleans Saints if what has transpired this offseason transpired last offseason. Now, many say that we got blessed to get Kellen Moore. Now, during the season, Kellen Moore proved toward the end of the season that he knows what he's doing. He had growing pains throughout, but he got better as the season went on, just as his team did. But let's back it up. Kellen Moore gets hired as the head coach. Now, after Kellen Moore gets hired, he puts together his staff. We got Doug Nussmeier coming back home, former Saints quarterback, coming back as the offensive coordinator. And then everybody's saying, what What were a lot of you saying last year? Tank for Nuss. Tank for Nuss. Once the news broke about Derek Carr not coming back to the New Orleans Saints. Now the Saints are in scramble mode. But of course, they had their heads up before any of us knew. But now they're in scramble mode. So now everyone's analyzing all these quarterbacks coming out. Would it be Shadur? Who would it be? Would it be Jackson Dort? Would it be Cam Ward? It wound up being neither of the three. It wound up being Tyler Shough, an afterthought, a person that many did not start paying attention to until the Senior Bowl, until the NFL Combine. And still, many try to, how should I put this? Many try to smudge that young man's name over one video from the NFL scouting combine, and of course that one video in college against Louisville. I believe who Louisville was playing when he rolled down, he just threw the ball. So, and we saw how that went. You had people going on social media the night the Saints made Tyler Shough the 40th selection, and they were saying, "This is the guy the Saints select. This is who they select." Oh my God, what are they doing? What are they thinking? They could have moved up and got Jackson Dort. They should have got Shadur. But all along, the Saints had identified the person that they wanted, and that person was Tyler Shough. Let's speed ahead. Shough comes in. He's a rookie. You got second-year quarterback Spencer Rattler. You got third-year quarterback Jake Hayner. Everyone's saying the Saints need to bring a veteran quarterback in the room. They don't. Mickey Loomis, Kellen Moore, Doug Nussmeier, they all let us know, hey, there are former quarterbacks already in the room. They're the coaches. But again, being a coach and being a quarterback in the room with these young men is different. So let's go to training camp. It all starts to play out in training camp. Good days, bad days. Of course, Shough starts off like a rookie. Rattler starts off like a second-year young quarterback, learning a new system. Everyone was learning a new system, not just those two. Everyone, the system was new to everyone. So everyone began on an even playing field. Preseason starts. They name Spencer Rattler the starter to start the preseason. Okay. Tyler Shough gets in, shows some flashes. That San Diego game, y'all heard me say this a couple weeks ago. That San Diego game, when Tyler Shough came in and he threw that pick six, you watched the kid's body language then. You saw him go to the sideline. He wasn't hanging his head. His shoulders were not slumped over. He was on the sidelines like, okay, let's go. And what did he do? He comes back and he hits Tipton for a big touchdown down the left sideline. And that whole game, I was watching more than his stats, because I really don't care about stats. It's about the eye test, what I see this young man doing. What I saw was a young man that looked the part, carried himself like a starting quarterback. And for the first time in a long time, I sat up in preseason and said, man, we might have us a quarterback. He looks like a quarterback. He carries himself like a quarterback. So now let's fast forward to the season. The big news everybody's waiting for. Who's the starting quarterback? All the national media. You got everybody saying it's gonna be Tyler Shough, man. He's handpicked by Kellen Moore and his staff to start this rebuild in New Orleans. You got to go with him. You can't go with Spencer Rattler. Kellen Moore and his staff decide to go with Spencer Rattler. And now you have Who Dat Nation split in half. You have those who can't stand Spencer Rattler, and you have those who want Shough because he's the shiny new toy. He's the one that was handpicked to lead this rebuild. And we have to find out, we need to know, do we have a franchise quarterback or a player capable of being a franchise quarterback before the end of this season, before we have to go in the draft and go searching for a quarterback? Because we know how the season starts. Saints start off the season struggling in the red zone. By the way, their red zone struggles carried over from preseason and training camp all the way to Shough really got in and got his feet and got settled. This team struggled in the red zone. They were one of the worst teams in the red zone. They still got off to slow starts in games. First quarter scoring by the Saints, they were one of the lowest scoring teams in the first quarter in the National Football League by a lot. So we comes to that Chicago game. Y'all remember the game? The game where we sat here and I said, this is the biggest game of Spencer Rattler's young career. And the one thing I said, and a lot of you said he could not do, was put too much pressure on himself or try to play out of his means, try to do things to prove that, hey, I never should have been replaced by Caleb Williams. He can say what he wants. That was that game was personal to him, and he dropped the ball. He dropped the ball. He dropped the ball that game. It was first series, you fumble the ball, you get hit, you gotta protect the ball. Climbing up in the protect the ball. Most important thing on the field, football. You got to protect the ball. He didn't do that. Horrible game. But they don't bench him. They give him one more. Let's see if he can bounce back against Tampa Bay. And it doesn't look good in the first half. So finally, the decision is made to go to Tyler Shough. And here comes Tyler Shough against Tampa. Second half, Saints down. What did he show? He showed he was a rookie. Showed he was a rookie in his first game. But you saw some things. You saw some things that made you sit back and say, okay, all right. This kid, it's something about him. And then he gets his first start against the Rams. Many were saying, I wouldn't start him against the Rams. I'll start him against a lesser team. No, that's who I want to see him go up against. At that time, that Rams defense, they were balling. That team was balling, man. That is the same Rams team that made it all the way to the NFC Championship game. So I wanted to see that. I wanted to see him against the Rams. And I did. Look, we got down in that game, but they kept fighting. He threw that touchdown to Juwan. You saw flashes from this kid. And though the Saints lost, which we all expected them to do, lose the game, you came out the game feeling kind of good because you were looking at your quarterback. And for the first time in several years, since 9 walked out the door, I wanted to see my quarterback on Sunday. I perked up when my quarterback stepped on the field, anticipating. And then we fast forward. Goes to Carolina. Gets his first win of his career on the road against the Carolina Panthers. Throws a beautiful pass down the right sideline. The Chris Olave comes up with some key third down passes to Devon Vele. Saints win. Then they go to Tampa. The monsoon, y'all know that game, that one game, the monsoon game. Stats. See, that's what they say stats are misleading. Because if you look at the stats from that game, you'll be like, man, what are they talking about? He really didn't do nothing. You had to watch the game. You had to watch the game unfold. He beat them. He willed the Saints to victory in that game. He used his legs. He came up with timely plays. And that last touchdown, when he broke tackles in the backfield and went around the left side and raced to the left pylon of the end zone and scored, man, look at here. You not gonna tell me you didn't jump off your couch. You didn't jump up. You didn't feel at that moment, damn, we got a quarterback. We got a quarterback. And then he goes to Tennessee. Oh, he goes head to head with the number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward. And Cam Ward played good that game. Tyler Shough was better. And then we close out the season against the Atlanta Falcons. No Chris Olave. No Alvin Kamara. No Devin Neal. Rashid Shaheed's been traded. You lost Foster Moreau. No Eric McCoy. You lost Calvin Banks Jr. during the game. You got Dylan Radunz at left guard. And you got Cesar Ruiz just frustrating that. Hell, Cesar didn't even play in that game, I believe. Did Cesar play in the last game? If I'm mistaken, or did he get hurt? I don't believe Cesar played in the last, because I remember seeing the backup guard in there. But anyway, he damn near won that game. The one thing that we saw when Tyler Shough took over that we didn't see when Spencer Rattler was playing, Shough took chances. He threw in the tighter windows. He made plays. But most importantly, what he did was he elevated the play of those around him. Calvin Austin Jr. The man threw a touchdown to a former New Edition band member, Ronnie Bell. If it isn't love, why do I feel this way? The man was throwing touchdowns to Ronnie Bell. Estime was breaking tackles, Estime was the running back. This team won down the stretch, finished 5-4. Last 9 games. Very close to finishing 6-3. And hell, I even forgot about the Atlanta game. When Chris Olave got to catch that ball. But after that, Chris started catching that ball. I said all this to say the Saints made the right decision. Because would you want to be in the quarterback market this season in the 2026 NFL draft? We all know who's going to go number 1. But my question is, if he was in last year's draft, would he have even been considered as a mid-second round selection? I'm serious. You put him with that draft class last year, who is he better than? A lot of us are right now prisoners of the moment. Understand the kid won the Heisman. Understand he led Indiana to the greatest season in the history of that football program. The kid is a winner. He's a fighter. Love the kid's personality and everything. I got to watch more film on him. I got to talk to those who study quarterbacks for a living and find out what it is with this kid. Is he worthy of being the number 1 quarterback selected in the 2026 NFL draft? Or is it just the crop of quarterbacks coming out? Hell, now that he's healthy, Is he better than Garrett Nussmeier? If Nussmeier comes out last year, hell, he might have been the first or second quarterback selected last year. Now that he's healthy, looks like somebody's going to get a steal. I'm telling you, somebody's going to get a steal with Gary Nussmeier. Somebody's going to get a steal. Hurricane Mike says Mendoza is like that. What makes him like that, Mike? When you look, tell me why you think he's like that. In what way? And basically what I'm asking, do you guys, not just Hurricane, but everybody, do you see Mendoza's skill set transferring to the NFL? I got a cop that I think he reminds me of, but I think he's just a tad bit, he's a better passer. I'm going to put that. I don't know if he's a better college quarterback. That's up for debate. I mean, hell, he just led the team undefeated season, greatest season, one of the greatest seasons in the history of college football. That Indiana program, what they did this year was special. No 5 stars, no 4 stars. Yeah, they did it, and they were dominant in doing it. They dominated Alabama. They dominated Ohio State. They were that damn good. But does his skill set translate to the NFL? I'm asking y'all, family. I'm telling you, this Garrett Nussmeier was playing hurt this season with LSU. But if Garrett Nussmeier came out last year, he goes in the mid first to early to mid second round last year. Now because of the season he's had, because look at the drop off. You don't go from passing from over 4,000 yards to less than 2,000 yards. The kid was injured. He was playing hurt. And we saw that Brian Kelly got released by LSU. But watching him practice at the Senior Bowl and throw the ball and run around, the kid looks healthy. He was making some really good throws. He was the most complete quarterback there. To me, he was head and shoulders above all the other quarterbacks there. Now, those who so-called experts may say he wasn't, he might have been the best overall there, but it wasn't head and shoulders over everybody else. I don't know what they watching. I know a good football player when I see a good football player. Garrett Nussmeier is a good football player, and he goes to the right team and the right system. I think he's going to excel. To me, somebody's going to get a steal. I don't know what round he's going to go in. We'll have some draft shows. We'll get some draft experts on here, and we'll talk about Mendoza. We'll talk about Garrett Nussmeier. We'll talk about some more of these quarterbacks. What about the Vanderbilt quarterback? Would his height hurt him? We'll see. But anyway, continuing with the Saints, Tyler Shough was not the only jewel of the 2025 New Orleans Saints rookie class. But he was the stone. He was the shiniest stone. He was the prettiest stone. He was the stone that the New Orleans Saints needed. My God, if we had to be in the market for a quarterback in this year's NFL draft, I guarantee you the Saints go a veteran route. Saints might call Arizona and be trying to get Tyler Murray if we were in that predicament right now. And I couldn't be mad at him. I'm sorry. I don't see in his, even with Mendoza, I do not see a quarterback that's going to be a franchise changer. I don't. Of course, hell, experts are wrong. We all are wrong. It's being this is the incorrect science. When you're trying to, project players from the collegiate level to the NFL level. But your eyes don't lie to you. When you see a good football player, you see a good football player. And the cop that I have for Mendoza, and y'all let me know how, if you think I don't fall off with this. The way he plays, like I say, he's a better passer. This person won the Heisman Trophy too. This person was one of the most decorated and loved college football players of all time. This football player played in the state of Florida. He had a gate on the side of his helmet. He's a spiritual man also. You know who I'm talking about now? That's right. Tim Tebow. That's who he reminds me of. Only with better mechanics throwing the ball, but that's not saying a lot. Mendoza don't blow me away with his accuracy. He's inconsistent. The kid makes plays, just like Tim Tebow did. He makes plays. Game on the line, he makes plays. He's just a winner. Tim Tebow was a winner. Say what you want about Tim Tebow. He won the damn playoff game. So that's my cop there. But continuing on talking about the New Orleans Saints 2025 draft class, Quincy Riley. Still. Many had Quincy Riley going in the top of the third, bottom of the second. Saints got him. Quincy Riley was a really good selection. And then what are we going to say about Jonas Sanker? Everyone was excited when the Saints were able to get Jonas Sanker in the draft. Little did we know by week 2, he would be the starter for the remainder of the season because their unfortunate injury to Julian Blackmon, who had a hell of a training camp and played good that first game. And had us, and listen, when Julian Blackmon and Reed back there, then you had Sanker, you had Jordan Howden, Ugo Amadi. We were good back there. Even though Tyron retired, you felt okay back there. Julian Blackmon goes down and is like, whoa, are we going to go out and bring somebody in? Nah. Saints insert Jonas Sanker. He gets better week by week. That intercept in Chicago when he picked off Caleb Williams, stepped in front of was that him or Quincy? I believe that was Sanker. No, that was Quincy. That was Quincy there. Sanker picked off Josh Allen in Buffalo when he tracked that ball down over the top. I think it was intended for Coleman or Dawson Knox, and he came over the top, made a great intercept. But the kid got better as the season went on. Then Danny Stutzman. Part-time starter, 53 tackles. Special teams and playing in the rotational role with Pete Werner. The kid had 53 tackles. Talented. 6th-round running back, Devin Neal. Alvin goes down. He shows you what he can do. Shows you he can catch the ball out the backfield. Shows you he can tote that pill. Unfortunately, he gets hurt. Then Devin Estime steps in. He does his job. So he's not a rookie, but he steps in. This Saints rookie class was good. Fadil Diggs got called up a few times from the practice squad. As did the young UCLA tight end, Matavale. This draft class was the best Saints class, was the best performing Saints rookie class since the 2017 class. And it ain't even close. It's not even close. And we're not even talking about Vernon Broughton, who got hurt in week 1. He'll be back. So this class has opportunities to be even better. Think about it. It looks like from the 2025 draft, the Saints have a starting safety and sinker, a future starting linebacker, maybe as early as this upcoming season, and Danny Stutzman. Most importantly, brink of a franchise quarterback in Tyler Shough. They got a quarterback they're good, feel good about looking to build around. Got quality depth at running back with Devin Neal, who showed the ability to carry that pig, to carry the load. You got Fidel Diggs, again, young man who showed promise, and he's only going to get better in his sophomore year. Marty DeVille, the tight end, big tight end from UCLA, developmental tight end. But he got in the last couple weeks of the season, showed his blocking prowess, made a few catches, and I believe the Saints need to upgrade in the tight end room. Both, like TJ said, shout out to TJ Jones, hosting the State of the Saints podcast. My brother came through last week. I want to thank him for that. Like me and TJ were talking, man. TJ said, and I agree with him, Saints need to bring in a veteran tight end in free agency, and they need to bring in a young tight end in the NFL draft. Most definitely. They have to. All right, let me see what Mike says. I see him. Mike says, I see him as a Cam Newton. Mike, you're dreaming. I don't. I do not see him as a Cam Newton. No. But hey, you might most likely be right. Let's say his adversity playing in Indiana. I saw a clutch gene. Legs were good enough. So yes. Okay. You saw a clutch gene and while he's playing in Indiana. You saw a lot of clutch gene with Tim Tebow at Florida too. I'm just saying. And let me ask you this. Would you say Mendoza coming out of college right now, and I want y'all to think back to this, is a better prospect than Josh Allen? Help me out with that one. So yeah, this 2025 class, man, they have been a breath of fresh air. They have helped speed up this rebuild process. So 2026 is going to be a big season for that class. If they can continue the upward projectile which they're headed upward right now. Everything's pointing upward for this past class and this organization. Hitting in the draft and getting 4 starters, hell, 6, 7 talented backups for depth on this team is big, because that's one thing this team has lacked. Quality depth for the last several years. Yes, because of the salary cap. We understand that, not just because of the salary cap, but most importantly, because they've been missing in the draft. But they hit. Now you got to come back and you got to double down. What about another successful 2026 class to equal, or dare I say surpass, the 2025 class as a whole? How would that speed up this rebuild process? Now, there are going to be a lot of unrealistic expectations put on the New Orleans Saints and Tyler Shough heading into the 2026 season. We're going to get crazy. You're going to have fans talking about, man, we're going to win 12, 13 games. Man, look who we got. We added this person in free agency. Man, did you see our draft? This the second year with Shough. We got a healthy, man, we got Elvin back. We got Devin Neal back. I don't know about Kendrick Miller. He might be back. Look who we got, man. We got a young stud tight end. Look at our left guard now. Look at our right guard. Expectations are going to get crazy. You're going to have people talking about, hey, 13 wins. Man, we're going 13-4. 12-5. We just finished 6-11. But this was one of the best 6-11 seasons anybody could ask for. Because what this 2025 class did, and it's most importantly, Tyler Shough did, he returned hope to Who Dat Nation. I'm going to say it again. He returned hope to Who Dat Nation. You were in front of your TVs for the duration of the game. You were in front of your TV actually believing and feeling and knowing we have a chance to actually come back and win this game. Why? Damn it, because we finally look to have gotten a quarterback. Now, what's going to happen in his sophomore year? They got film on you. All your weaknesses, they're going to try to exploit his weaknesses. He's going to have to show that up. He's going to have to show up his strengths. But just listen to Tyler Shough talk this offseason, just hearing this young man talk. And listen, he hears everything that was said about him. He knows what the naysayers were saying about him. He knows they are betting on him to fail. They are wanting him to fail. He knows they're saying, hey, that's just 1 year. He came in for 9 games. Let's see him do it for 17 weeks. He's up to the challenge. He's ready for the challenge. He's inviting the challenge. He's working to be successful for his teammates, for Who Dat Nation, for his family. So this kid, he has everything you want in a franchise quarterback. Personality. Is he not one of? He's a cusser. He's a cusser. I'll tell you that. He's a cusser. He's a straightforward dude. I'll tell you that. I like the way he handles himself. He stayed in the city. Didn't leave the city. Stayed in the city to work out. Wants to get entwined into the community. He's already doing that from all reports. Already doing that. Hope. Family, we haven't had hope in over several years. We have not had hope in over several years. Every time the offense took the field with Tyler Shough, I sat up in my seat and I just waited because I knew something good was going to happen. Even after something bad happened, he threw that pick against Atlanta. The pick six, the game sealer. Okay. Marched right back down the field and scored. That's what he does. And the one area coming out that everyone, including me, were worried about was his pocket presence. Well, how should I say this? When the pocket got muddy, happy feet in the pocket. He navigated the pocket like a seasoned pro. That's what surprised me, pleasantly surprised me. He maneuvered himself like a seasoned veteran quarterback in the pocket. He got better. Every time he took the field, he got better. But most importantly, he made his teammates better. Now you have, and I'm telling you, you have free agents who would not have looked at New Orleans if they didn't have a quarterback, who are not going to look at New Orleans because of that quarterback. New Orleans has an opportunity to once again become a free agent's destiny. New Orleans has an opportunity to stop having to overpay to get people to come. Because for the last several years, this has not been a free agent's place of destiny, place of want to, a place that they wanted to come. It is not. But when you get a young quarterback, when you get a franchise quarterback, and they can see it, that's the thing. When those on the outside can see it, those who have played the game, those who haven't played the game, but are very highly intelligent. And I ain't talking about the ones on TV. I'm talking about the ones watching now. I'm talking about the ones sitting on the couches. I'm talking about the ones who watch film. I'm talking about the ones who know the intricacies, hell, you know what I'm trying to say, of the game of football, who don't just watch what's seen on the TV. They don't just watch the surface of a football game. This young man can play football. He now has people considering coming to New Orleans because of him. This team hit the jackpot with Tyler Shough. Now they have to do right. They have to do right and build around him. Does that mean they go out and they select offensive player? Building around Tyler Shough also means what? Building up his defense. A defense, man, shouts out to the defense. Finished as a top 12 unit this past season. Hell, we looked up and the Saints were 11 and 12 in the league. And I was like, when that happened? And we did a show, and many of you were like, damn, Dov, you're right. When did that happen? But I say that to say this, family. I'm glad we don't have to go into this upcoming draft looking for a quarterback. We'll be in trouble. We'll be in trouble. And if we had to me, it'd be Nuss or bust. I just think Nussmeier's the best quarterback in this draft. He's not gonna be the first quarterback selected, but I think he's the best pro-ready quarterback coming out. To me, he got projects. A lot of people believe Mendoza is that guy. Talented kid. Deserves all the accolades. Hell of a collegiate quarterback. But consistency, how consistent was he in his career? He was consistent this year. I know that. That's all that matters. What have you done for me lately? And it looks like he's going to be a Las Vegas Raider. So, to me, the Raiders not on the clock. To me, well, the number 2 pick, they on the clock. That's who's on the top. That's who's on the clock. All right, let's go to got some family members in the chat coming in. All right, Rose City, Rose, what's going on with you, baby? I see you. Ransom 1976 says, good evening, brother. Free agency have to be explored seriously for defense, staying power to compete with Seattle and LA. Yeah, we most definitely got to go hit the defense inside of the ball. That's why I just said, like, when I say build around Tyler Shough, or you hear build around Tyler Shough, that's not just offensive firepower. That's defense too. Getting him the ball back. giving him the opportunity to play with a lead, holding teams to field goals and not giving up touchdowns, keeping the game close enough, giving him an opportunity to win it. I believe the Saints and Chris Olave will come to a deal. I believe it will be between $30 to $27 million a year for Chris Olave. Get a kid his money. I was one who was saying during the year I was frustrated with him, just like you was. But he had been being inconsistent, big drops at the wrong time. But then something clicked. Him and Tyler start clicking, and you saw what a hell of a combination they can be. Those two and Tyler and Juwan Johnson. And man, I don't think we give enough kudos to Juwan Johnson because we rode Juwan Johnson's. We rode him hard, bro, and for good reason. But Juwan Johnson, the second half of the season, isn't it kind of funny? When Tyler Shough gets inserted, a Chris Olave game goes to another level. He's been good, but consistency comes back. Juwan Johnson game goes to another level. He wasn't dropping balls. He was catching damn near everything, throw it to him. He was making spectacular one-handed catches, contested catches, hurling into the end zone. Those two always go to. Then let's think about the chemistry that Shough was developing with Devon Valley, the big body receiver that everybody's been saying we needed. We've been missing. Devon Valley was proven to be that guy, looking to see what he can do in his third year in the NFL and his second season with the Saints. But yeah, Ransom, I agree with you, man. We got to keep getting better on the defensive side of the ball, man. Now, here's a question for you guys. Here's a question for everyone. Let me know in the chat. Everybody in the chat, just put yes he leaves or no he doesn't. Put yes he leaves or no he resigns. Alante Taylor, does he leave, family? Yes he leaves or no he resigns. Let me know. Randy, how you doing? Cornell Tate shouted out Tyler as a potential. Yeah, man, I heard about that, man. I love to hear Cornell Tate. Listen, the thing is, the Saints are sitting here, man, where they can get the best player available when they're on the clock. Whoever's the highest rated player on their board at the time, they can get that player, man. They can get them. They're not forced. They're not forced to stick a round peg into a square hole trying to force a pick, trying to force a quarterback. They don't have to do that. They don't have to do that. They can get the best player available. Would it be Jeremiah Love? Would it be Cornell Tate? Now, there's a guard that I saw at the Senior Bowl the day I was there, and I've been watching some film on him. And if he's there in the second round, the Saints are able to get this kid in the second round, I'm going to be really, really happy about it. Let me just say that. If the Saints are able to get this kid in the second round, I am going to be very, very happy. And I want y'all to remember this name and go and look at some film on this kid. He's from our University of Iowa guard, Bo Stevens. Bo Stevens made himself some money at the Senior Bowl. Bo Stevens' stock went up at the Senior Bowl. I know his counterpart, Who That Records, Donker. I saw Donker too, and I saw Keelan Rutledge. I'm telling you right now, they had good weeks too, but I'm telling you, Bo Stevens, he is a plug and play. Bo Stevens is plug and play. I just put our new Substack not familiar, go over to subscribe, family, follow us on Substack. You get daily, you're gonna get articles, live videos. We're live on Substack right now. Also, we got the Come On In Sports Network on Substack. I'm gonna put that link in too. So, family, we're publishing every day. We're giving you at least 3 articles, 3 to 4 articles a week on our Come On In Sports Network Substack page, as well as my own personal page over there, Dolph Jackson. But shout out to Learns, our editor here at the Come On In Sports Network, man, who set us up, man, with a great platform, man, and yeah, Substack, man, it's a great platform. Again, we have daily articles, not just on NFL, man. We got an article up there right now about the Royal Rumble, man. Last night's Royal Rumble, and I'm going to be writing an article tonight, and it should be out tomorrow about Shaquille Stevenson just taking apart Teofimo Lopez last night. My God, man, he made a world. Shaquille made that man look like he was a sparring partner. He made him look like he was a sparring partner, man. The way he beat him down, brother. I'm telling you, that jab that he was throwing last night was wicked, man. The kid, he is a throwback fighter, man. I know a lot of us get with all this. We got to see a knockout. Oh, if he can't knock nobody, he got 11 knockouts, so he didn't knock people out before. But what he is, he's a boxer, man. He's a boxer. The sweet signs, like you said, the sweet signs of boxing is what? Hit somebody and not get hit. And damn it, he good. He impressed me last night. That was impressive. And he said, hey, my boy set the standard. Talking about who? Bud Crawford against Canelo. So yeah, so be looking out for that on Substack. We're gonna have Come On In on the Come On In Sports Network page, family. Just going over there and subscribe to our Substack channel over there. Again, that's the link right there. Substack. We live, that's the live stream because I'm live right now. So over there on Substack, man. But shout out to everybody who's witnessing this on Substack. We appreciate you tuning in to the Keeping It Real Who Dat Sports podcast. I'm Dolph Jackson. Shout out to everybody on X, baby. I see you, baby. X is in the building. But yeah, family. Now, what I like to do now, what we gonna do, we gonna take a look at Mickey Loomis. He had an interview with Todd McShay at the Senior Bowl, and Mickey says some interesting things. And we go listen to, for those of you who have not seen this video, we go listen to this video, and I want to see if y'all catch some things that I catch from what I haven't watched in its entirety. I did start watching it. I wanted to watch it in its entirety with you guys. So give me a minute to set that up, family. And let me get that set up right now so we can view this together. All right. We'll go full screen now. All right, let me get that up. All right, this is Todd McShay. We know who Todd is, one of the best in the game, most respected, man. And he was talking to Mickey Loomis, man, about everything, man, from draft, from everything, man. So let's start at the beginning here, and let's see what Mickey had to say, man. Mickey he brought a lot of things to life, man. a lot of things to life. And all I'm gonna say is this: Tyler Shough wasn't as big of a surprise as you would think, family. So here we go. This is Mickey Loomis on the Todd McShay Show at the 2026 Panini Senior Bowl. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear it, family.
I'm doing great.
We're doing this because I've always felt like one of the missing components in covering football has been kind of the decision makers, right? We talk to head coaches and the players, and but I think there's a lack of information about the actual process. So I wanted to start here with you, Mickey. Tyler Shough is a unique prospect in that he felt like he was in college for a couple decades, right? So he might be a little different than a quarterback who came out with 3 or 4 years.
This, I'm gonna keep playing it, man. Everybody says that, man. Last time I looked, 26 was still young, man. 20, hell, before he's 30, he can get a second contract. How about that? And when he's 33, 32, 33, he can get another contract. So I mean, listen, I understand people say he was in college for several years and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, at some point, man, it's just like, come on, man. Just let it go. But hey, it's the Todd McShay, man. Much respect to Todd, man. But I'm just saying, here we go.
But we have a lot of avid fans and fans who love the game of football, but maybe don't know the intricacies of the scouting process. When's the first report? Like if you went into the state system right now and look back, like how many years, when was the first report, and kind of walk us through how that escalates as you get closer to the draft?
Yeah, that's I'm probably not going to be as precise, but it's probably 3 years ago.
Right.
Because obviously they're eligible after 3 years out from high school, and Tyler started at Oregon, and so we're familiar with him there, familiar with him at Texas Tech, and then obviously his last year at Louisville, but probably about three years ago. And I remember talking about Tyler a year before, 2 years ago, and one of our scouts said, "Hey, this guy's going to be under the radar because he's been hurt."
Yep.
This was before he went to Louisville, so he hadn't had a long string of starts and success without being injured.
I'm gonna stop it there. Great insight right there from Mickey Loomis. 3 years, Saints have been looking at Tyler Shough. Tyler Shough was on the Saints' radar before he made it to Louisville. You heard him. Scout said this guy is going to be under the radar because of his injury history. And damn it, that scout was so right. So right. Because of his injuries, which prolonged his career in college, which led to him being 26 years old, which the world lost their mind about, which that's all they could talk about. Oh, he's injury prone. Oh, he's good old man. He's 26. He's too young for you to be your quarterback that you build around. But you hear Mickey Loomis saying, hey, we had our eyes on Tyler Shough before he got to Louisville, before he got to Senior Bowl, before he went to the scouting combine, before we had him in for a visit. So that's to show you, man, sometimes we think we know, but we don't know. Again, this is very good insight from General Manager Mickey Loomis on Tyler Shough in the process.
And so that one of our scouts kind of felt like, hey, we might get a steal here.
Yep.
As an undrafted free agent early.
As an undrafted.
Then he went to Louisville, had a great season, and obviously climbed up the draft boards, and we were fortunate to get him.
Now, did y'all catch that? The scouts say we might get this kid as a undrafted free agent still. That's before he went to Louisville with Coach Brown. and had the season he had. He was already on the Saints' radar. How about that? Which goes to show you the process of the Saints putting players on their board doesn't start once they're a senior or they're a junior and they declare for the draft. The Saints are already, NFL teams are already 2-3 years in advance, already beginning their evaluation of players. Just interesting, man. So let's keep going here.
I'm curious too. So you hire a head coach who played the quarterback position, who's coached quarterback specifically, offensive coordinator. How the collaboration process, right? Because at the end of the day, it's your decision, and you have a scouting staff that you rely on and trust, that you've put in those individuals in place, and you believe in your process. How does the collaboration work? Because you don't want to draft a quarterback, especially that maybe the new coach is not in line with, but you also want to make sure you stay true to your process. How does that work for fans that are kind of curious, the behind the scenes?
Well, I think every place is a little different. I would say this is that I would never bring a player in that our coaching staff didn't want. So we're going to work out any disagreements or any little things that might bother them or bother us. We're going to get that worked out long before we make a pick. It was true with Jim Haslett when I started. He was our head coach. Sean Payton was our head coach for a long time. Dennis Allen. It's been the same process for us always. I believe in getting our coaches involved. I believe in getting their opinions. We want our coaching staff to have skin in the game for any player that we bring in, because we're going to rely on our coaching staff to develop those players. And so if they've got an investment in time and a positive opinion, then I think that's going to benefit us in the long run.
When did you know that Shough was the pick? And did you feel any pressure that you're going to have to go up and get him, or he wasn't going to be there?
Well, you always feel pressure, to go get someone. And look, I've got a history. Our team has a history of moving up and very seldom.
You're not afraid of being aggressive.
Yeah.
No, because I just.
No. We're going to get back to it, man. But what Mickey said to me is very, very reassuring. So every quarterback that the New Orleans Saints have brought into the building, the coach has signed off on. Every quarterback. And I like how he said, listen, and it makes complete sense. Why would he, as a GM, bring in a player that the coaching staff doesn't believe fits what they're trying to do, isn't talented enough, or just isn't a good culture, doesn't fit their culture, what they're looking for? So, I really appreciate that question from Todd McShay there to Mickey Loomis. Now, listen, I want y'all to pay keen attention to what Mickey is about to say about what he's known for, which we all know what he's known for in the draft. But the reason that he gives for why he does what he does and not the opposite, I think makes perfect sense. So let's listen to it, Mickey, right here.
Feel like, why would I want to go back and get a lesser player if you believe in your board, right? That's the principle behind that. But I do understand, moving back and collecting more picks and taking more shots. So I understand that process. But for us, it's always been, man, we fall in love with somebody and we're going to go get them. Make sure we get them. That was just a matter of, you make these assessments of whether he's going to be available, because you want value for the pick too.
Right.
You definitely want the player, but you also want to manage your draft and use your assets accordingly. And so yes, there was pressure because we all liked him, and so we had to wait a while. Pick 44. Is that what it was?
And if you move up, maybe you don't get a Quincy Riley later on.
Right.
That's the thing, right?
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
40. Excuse me. Sorry, that
It
got
must have
my
been a
guy Doug
long.
here.
It must have been a long wait.
Yeah, it was a wait, and look, we had some guys in our room that they were kind of, maybe we should go up and get them, and
I bet.
there was some discussion about whether that made sense for us, and
Saints were thinking about.
How much do you look at the
we
board
did.
too? Like these teams don't need a quarterback.
yeah, you're paying attention to
Right.
that, and now with technology, we have all these mock draft simulators, and
Yep.
we run through 150 of those. You can run them just like this, and so we run 150 or 200 scenarios, and there's only like one or two where he's taken in front of our pick, and so
There's always a snake
that
in the
influence,
weeds.
Yeah,
that
that's what
influences you.
scares you, though.
But here's the deal, GMs are not simulators,
Right.
and a lot of them are really good at keeping their decisions close to the vest. So, but it worked out.
Then organizationally, right? We've seen so many different ways to make it work, and Shough isn't a top 15 pick, like a Mahomes or a Josh Allen or a Drake May. But how?
Well, I think if you remember right, when Mahomes got taken, I don't think a lot of people had him in the top 15.
No.
He was going to be farther down the line, probably closer to the 20s, and Kansas City had a conviction, traded up in front of. I think Arizona was who they thought was going to take him, traded in front of us, and they took Pat.
Right. So, but then you bring in Tyler as the 40th overall pick, and organizationally, it's so important then to support him properly and make sure you don't throw him into the fire too early. But he's not the youngest prospect to come out. What were those conversations like after you draft him, knowing your situation with you and Kellen, talking about how are we going to support him best?
Yeah, I think in a perfect world, you take a young quarterback and you let him get acclimated and you let him sit and follow somebody else and develop. I think history's shown that's been the best method. I mean, a lot of these guys that have had a lot of success, Tom Brady sat for a year. Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years.
Right.
Jordan
Patrick
Love
sat for a year.
Patrick sat for a year. A lot of them sat for a good amount of time. And
so there you have it. I mean, great. First, again, great questions by Todd McShay, man. And man, I appreciate Mickey's candorism right now, surrounding Tyler Shough with the right players, putting him in the right position. And the question is, hey, do we sit him? Do we start him? Like Ty said, do you just throw him through to the wolves? And Mickey gives some great examples. Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. Remember? Patrick Mahomes didn't start in Kansas City. He sat a year before he started. So, again, what we learned so far from this interview with Todd McShay from Mickey Loomis is, one, Tyler Shough has been on the New Orleans Saints radar. And chances are, if he had not gone to Louisville and would have not been drafted, the Saints would have pursued him hard and try to sign him as an undrafted free agent. But they didn't have to. He went to Louisville. He had that season. He was seasoned by Coach Jeff Brown of Louisville, who I believe is one of the best college coaches there is, who doesn't get the recognition that he deserves. But Mickey is just being candid right now. Like, hey, you have to be careful. I mean, that's the process. And it has proven to be successful. And everyone he has mentioned, it worked. It was successful. So let's continue on with Mickey Loomis' interview at the Senior Bowl with Todd McShay.
On occasion, there's a guy that or two that start early and have some success early, but history shows that it's just better to get acclimated and understand the league, be able to take a deep breath. There's a lot of pressure on these guys at that position.
My God,
so
St. John,
in a perfect world, we wanted to, give him time to do that. Now, Derek Carr retired, so we were in a little bit different circumstance, but we had Spencer, like Liked a lot of things that Spencer did, so we had the luxury of kind of letting that play out in training camp, and we went with Spencer. And look, he did a lot of really good things. So, but it got to the point where, okay, let's see what Tyler can do. And he's an older quarterback with a lot of starts in college, a lot of play, and so a lot of maturity. So it's a little bit different circumstance with him because of the amount of time he spent in college, and it worked out. He had a great run of the last 9 games, but I think that not starting at the beginning of the season was really valuable for him.
Last one for me on Shough. So I've done a lot of research in the last several years on when you get your quarterback, which is the hardest thing to do in this league, right? And so now you feel like you've got your guy. What do organizations do that have been successful the next year in the draft specifically? A lot of times we've seen a shift to, you would think, right? Like, all right, let's get him a running back. Let's get some wide receivers, but a lot of organizations that have had success, and it surprised me when I did the study, they kind of went heavy defense the next draft. I'm not looking for you to give me answers on what you guys are going to do. I'm just saying, have you kind of looked at what's the best way to support them and what's our approach, or is it just stay true to our board and
Well, let me give you a long answer for that one.
Okay.
So I was hired in 1983 by the Seattle Seahawks. Our general manager was Mike McCormick. Mike McCormick later became the president of the Carolina Panthers as an expansion team. But before he was the general manager of the Seahawks, he was the head coach of the Baltimore Colts.
Okay.
And before that, he was the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. And before that, he was a offensive tackle for the Cleveland Browns. And in 1984, he was elected to the Hall of Fame as a tackle. A great player. So I say that because that's who I learned a lot about this game and about rosters and how to build a game and how to build a team and what can be successful. It comes from him. It comes from an offensive lineman.
Yep.
So you know what I'm going to say next, right? So Mike would say, and we would all say, hey, the most important position on any team is a quarterback. We all would agree with that.
Yep.
But he would say the most important room is the offensive line room, because if they can't function at a high level, then it doesn't matter how good your quarterback is, because he won't be able to function.
Man, look, if that's not knowledge for you right there, family, you can say what you want about Mickey Loomis, but now you know the principle behind why the Saints swing at that offensive line. Again, no matter what level of football we talk about, it will be won at the line of scrimmage. And like Mickey said, and you got to agree with it. You can have the most talented quarterback in the world, but if you have a bad offensive line, chances are he ain't going to be successful, or he ain't going to be around too long. So just some really good nuggets that Mickey is dropping right now, and this family lets us in behind. Pay attention. Don't be surprised. Saints go offensive line in the first round. I'm just saying. So let's continue.
And I think the culture of most teams begins with the offensive line, because they've got to be smart, they've got to be tough, they've got to be selfless, great teammates, see something, say something type of guys.
Yep.
And so that's why you'll see, if the history of our organization, since I've been the GM, we've drafted a lot of offensive linemen high. It's important to get that room right, and we're building that room, right? We've got first-round picks at left tackle and right tackle the last 2 years. We've got a center that was a second-round pick, and a right guard that was a first-round pick. And look, we've had some other guys. Some worked out, some didn't. But we've got to get that room right to begin with, and that way Tyler can develop. He can take time. Young quarterbacks are going to take too many sacks. They're going to hold on to it too long. Tyler's no different than that. But you know what that means? That means you offensive linemen have to hold your blocks a little bit longer. You got to, because you got a young quarterback back here. He's, and And so we got to get that room right. We got to play well there, and then we've got to be able to have a run game, and then obviously have a good defense. And you know, we played good defense last year. I thought our coaches did a great job, particularly after Chase Young came back week 5. You know, we had a real good defense from that point on, and so we got to build on that as well.
At the risk of making Todd angry, because he said just yesterday he's done talking about this, but it's been a big subject, especially with the tackles last year. Arm length, 34-inch arms. Everyone's supposed to have 34-inch arms to play tackle. You've had success drafting guys with shorter arms. I mean, Ryan Ramczyk was one of my favorite prospects coming out of college. Kelvin Banks last year does, you know, sub 34-inch arms. We talk about it in the way of, does it show up on tape? Are there certain numbers or measurables, like I'm specifically, I guess, with the offensive tackles that you look at and say, this is something we need to dig into, or you're just tape-based, character-based?
Well, look, the thing about measurables, and not just measurables, but all the drill work, all the things that we time and test, they're important because we know that there's a range that 95% of our league is going to fall within, right? At any position. And, you know, I tell our guys all the time, we're not looking for exceptions, because if we keep finding exceptions, we're eventually going to get fired, because it's not going to, there are exceptions for a reason. So we're not looking for exceptions. And yet you got to look at the whole body of work. And hey, a really good player is a really good player. And I would say
really
that we're not looking for exceptions. That we want to have guys with 35-inch arms and perfect measurables, but they don't all have that. And another factor is, hey, what's the scheme that you're running? And sometimes the athleticism is more important than the arm length. Sometimes the ass and mass is more important than the speed, or whatever it is that you're measuring. So I would say that those guys fit all the measurables except that one in those cases.
Yes, I would agree. Is there one other one I can ask you about? Is the history of the Saints drafting running backs?
Yeah.
And that's another thing you hear. You don't draft running backs early. I don't think you were the GM yet, but you were part of the organization when the Saints drafted Deuce McAllister in the first round.
Yeah, that was Randy Mueller was a GM. I worked for Randy. Randy and I were there together. We had Ricky Williams at the time, and just that was that specifically was Deuce was a player that we had ranked in the top 5 players in the draft that year.
Yeah.
And we're picking 21, I think it was, maybe 22, right in that vicinity. And I was like, we just can't pass this guy up.
Yeah.
I know we got Ricky Williams, but we can't pass this guy up. And so Randy made that decision, and it was a good one. I mean, Deuce Deuce is a good friend of mine now, and my son actually played basketball together at the high school.
That's great.
That they go to. But he was a big, fast. I mean, he's a punt returner the first year, for crying out loud, at his size. And
230 pounds around that.
And as I recall, he led the league in 20-plus yard runs for the first few years of his career. And then he had a knee injury, and his career was cut short by some injuries. But great back. We drafted Mark Ingram in the first round, and that was a good pick for us. Alvin, we were lucky enough to get in the 3rd round. So
early 3rd, though. It was still, I think people look at it and say 3rd. It was, I think, the 3rd pick of the 3rd round.
Yeah, it was a guy that we liked a lot, and Sean fell in love with Alvin as
for good reason.
Yeah, I mean,
he fell in love with him when he went, and Sean went to his. I think we had a private workout with a bunch of guys from Tennessee that year, and Sean came back in love with Alvin because of his brain, because of how smart he was, and the things that he could do. So,
he's been a member of the team.
But yeah, we have offensive linemen. We've had a lot in the first round. Running back, not so much.
You're gonna move this closer because we have a coaches convention that just broke out in the middle of this. I'm curious because you've been doing this for a minute and you've had a lot of success. I actually tried. I reached out to some people who've worked for you, and I was trying to dig up some dirt and some things that But
there's some out there, I'm sure.
But honestly, everyone just thoroughly looks back on their time working with you and really appreciates how you've done it. I'm curious with technology and the game changing and everything that's gone on. When you look back to where you were when you first got was the GM job 2002, I think.
Yes.
Okay. To where we are now in 2026, how have you evolved?
Oh, good question. I don't know. I probably can't answer that. I'm sure there's a group of people who say I haven't evolved, but it's a good question. Obviously we have a lot more data available to us, so we try to take advantage of that. But it's always just a tool in the toolbox. I say, look, we have really good evaluators in our building. You have really great coaches in the league, and so we got to trust what these people are expert at. And yet, the data that's available to us can either confirm or contradict, what our eyes see. And so, if it confirms it, great, and if it contradicts it, well, let's dig a little deeper. And that's the way we treat it. So I'd say that's one of the areas that has changed. I still think it's blocking, it's tackling, it's fundamental stuff.
Fundamental still matter.
And look, I think it's harder for college coaches now to coach because the transfer portals and the things that these players have to go through now at the college level. So we probably need to spend more time on some of the fundamental things that we believe in, because the game's a little different when it gets to the NFL as opposed to college game. And look, I think college coaches do a great job. So this isn't anything against any of that. It's just, our game's a little different, and so we have to spend a little more time recognizing and it's different for every player, right? Yeah. What can they do? What do they do well? What are we going to ask them to do, and how can we get them to do it better? Yeah, but that doesn't answer your question.
No,
it does. It does.
Because I think sometimes with all that change, some people can get away from their roots and get away from at the end of the day what's important. And I think it's important to have a firm anchor
interview
with what you believe in and what you do, while still utilizing what's coming along. There's only 32 of you in the world. It fascinates me, right? And how hard it is. Like, you look around the Senior Bowl, or we get to the Combine, and how many scouts, how many coaches, how many people that are aspiring to be in the seat that you're in.
Yeah.
And there's something special about that, right? If you were to look back and talk to your younger self, 20, 25 years old, right?
Yeah.
and give yourself some advice now that you've been through all these wars, what would you tell that young man?
Well, let me go the other direction first.
Okay.
So, hey, when I'm 12 years old, I think I'm going to be a wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, right? When I'm 16 years old, I think that I'm going to be the shortstop for the San Francisco Giants. Yeah. And then when I'm 20, I think I'm going to be a point guard in the NBA. So,
yeah.
And then when I'm 22, I recognize that I'm not going to do any of that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a basketball coach and an AD at a small college. That was what I intended on doing. And so I say that because my 12-year-old self, my 16-year-old self, my 20-year-old self would all look at me today and say, "You're a miserable failure. You ruined our life."
Right.
So, look, I've been fortunate. I've been in the league 41 years.
41 years.
Yes, you aspire to become a GM when you're an executive in our league. But it's a lot of luck. You got to be in the right place at the right time. Things have to happen for you to get one of these jobs, because, as you said, there's so few of them. And I love doing it because I love the people. The work's great, but I just love the people that are in the NFL. They're high achievers. They're smart. They're great people, great teammates. Scouts. everyone's passionate about their job in our league. That's it's a great thing about it. We choose to do this. I didn't choose to be here because I thought I was going to make a bunch of money. In fact, I thought I can make a lot more money doing lots of other things. I'm a pretty smart guy. And yet, we make a good living now. If you get to be a GM, you're going to make a really good living. And a lot of these positions in our league now, because of the growth of the league. When I started, there was 40 guys in the whole office. Right now, We've got 300.
Wow.
So it's crazy. And we've got in our situation, we've got a basketball team as well. So that's the magnitude of everything has changed dramatically. But it's still part of, hey, I wanted to be involved in team sports because I love the competition. I love having a result on after game day, and I can say, look, we won or lost, and you're going to feel really low, as you guys know. You feel really low when you lose, but you're not going to feel high with the wins if you don't have the lows, and so that's fine. It's part of the deal, and get your blood going, and it keeps me going. I'm 69 years old, and man, I have energy, and I'm excited about going to work every day still. So I didn't answer your question, did I?
No, it's amazing. It's perfect. 2 more, okay? And then we'll let you go. I know we got a busy day here. I want to ask, we've had several different GMs, and I'm kind of asking, because I think there's, for whatever reason, people are really intrigued, because we have 400 players that we wind up whittling it down to from 1,300, throughout the process. I'm told, and maybe I'm wrong, I'm told your board at the end of the day, when we get there to draft weekend, your board is maybe a little bit smaller, more condensed than some other teams. Is that true? How big is your board typically, and what's the process behind that?
Yeah, it's a lot less than, 276 picks? How many picks are there? 276?
250s, I think 250s.
Depending on how many, supplemental and all that,
Yeah, so we have a lot less than that on our board. And Jeff Ireland, who's our college scouting director, this is a lot of his system, as well as a blend of what we believed before he got there, and what we've collaborated on since. He's got a formula that you got to have this many people on your board in the first round. You have to have this. You have to have this many for your next pick.
Yep.
And the formula has never failed, but. It gets a little nerve-wracking.
I was going to say, look at it and say, what happened?
We've been in, later in the draft at times, and there's only 2 or 3 names up there that it's a little nerve-wracking, but they've always been available. So, because we're trying to get it down. These are the guys that we want, and the rest of it just kind of becomes clutter. Not clutter. That's not the right word, but you get the gist of what I'm saying.
Well, you have to have
these are the guys, right? These are the guys that fit what we want to do. They fit the profile of what we want to bring into the locker room, and these are the guys we want. And that's why we trade up, not back, generally speaking.
Right.
Again, Nugget, why do you trade up?
All right, last one. And we've had Eric DaCosta, Howie Roseman, Nick Casario, all wonderful. The time we spent with them was wonderful, but they absolutely have failed us to this point. And I'm hoping that you don't. You're in New Orleans,
Those
right?
guys are all really top flight GMs
wonderful,
too. So.
But they failed us in this area.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a great story about the spread for draft weekend. And you're in New Orleans. You have an appreciation. We talked about Koshan before you came on.
Yeah.
Butcher we just went to the other day was amazing. I think you have an appreciation for good food. What's the spread? Who's in charge of it? What's it look like? How important is that to you? Because that would be it would be high on my, that's why I'm not a general manager, but that would be really high on my priority list.
Yeah, well, I see Jeff Ireland over here. He's kind of.
All right, man. Pretty much after that, man, they get away from it, man. But really good interview there by Todd McShay with Mickey Loomis, and man, I encourage you to go and watch that again, man. I'm gonna watch it again to help me in understanding what the Saints brain trust is looking for in this draft. Now, at the end there, what I appreciated was the Saints draft board is not as big as everyone else. So everyone that's on the Saints board, as you just heard GM Mickey Loomis say, they have identified that person, that player, as a player that will fit what they want to do here in New Orleans, a person that will fit the culture, and a person that they want to bring in to the locker room, into their environment, man. And like he said, it's gotten really nerve-wracking in the room when the draft's still going on. You got 100 and something. I'm just imagining right now from what he's saying. Let's say you got 100 and something more picks to go, and they only got 2 or 3 people left on their board. I can't imagine how nerve-wracking that can be. And you think about all the hours and time and months and years that they have put into scouting these players, and to have them right there and boom, somebody take them, man. I'm sure it can be pretty deflating. But like Mickey said, it hasn't failed them thus far, man. But great insight in that interview with Todd McShay. For those of you who didn't hear it, I just thought that was something that we all can share together, man, to help us to kind of go behind the brain trust, go behind the go into the war room with the Saints on draft day, man, and understand what they're thinking. So now we understand. Mickey Loomis was taught by his mentor, man. Hey, doesn't matter how good of the quarterback is if you don't have the right people up front. Now you got the quarterback. You got Tyler Shough. They drafted Calvin Banks Jr. They drafted Talisi Fuaga last year. They have Eric McCoy. Eric McCoy, love him, great player. Injury bug has started to bite Eric McCoy the last few years. Would love to see the Saints go in the draft and get a young guard / center. And y'all heard me speak of this name. I want y'all to look him up, family. I know Bunker, his teammate at Iowa, but I'm telling you, you turn on the film, you watch this kid play, and I watched him practice live. I'm telling you, matter of fact, I know a lot of you have seen that one-on-one at the end of practice with him and Texas Tech defensive tackle Lee Hunter, who's going to be a first round, who's slotted to be a first round pick, and how he won that matchup with technique. And he has this technique that he using when he's being bull rushed. Is when he snatches, is pulling. When he snatches and pulls the defender arm down. Snatching, I just call it snatch and grab. You have to watch every time this kid was in a rep. I watched his hand placement. I watched his form. Now he's not the most athletic player that you're going to have in the offensive line you're going to have in this draft, but he's more than capable. He gets to the second level routinely. He's always in right good position. When reach blocking, he always has that left. If he's reach blocking to the right, he always has that left shoulder right in the middle of that defender's chest, right in the middle of his face. He finishes blocks. When he pulls with bad intention. He cleans up whatever is in the way. He's a mauler. He's very good. I know the Saints that you all heard reports that they talked to Georgia Tech guard and center Kellen Rutledge, who, by the way, he had a nice week also. But I'm telling you, besides Kellen Rutledge, I'm telling you, Bo Stevens is a kid to keep an eye on. Hopefully he's on the New Orleans Saints board, man, because I believe the kid, he had a really good week, and I watched some film on him this morning also. And I've got that up on the we got that up on our Substack channel on the Come On In Sports Network channel on Substack, as well as my Dolph Jackson, my page there on Substack, family. So do us a favor again. I'm gonna show you before we get out of here. I'm gonna show y'all our Substack page, man. So y'all can go on over there and subscribe to it, man. We really appreciate y'all, man. Look, ain't gonna get into me because I'm talking to y'all and right now. All right, so Let me share this screen with you. So we're live right now on Substack. That's the page right there. That's your boy Dog's page there on Substack, man. You go over there, man. As you can see, we're live right now on Substack. We got a couple of videos, past videos up. And again, here's the article I was speaking about that I wrote on our guard, Bo Stevens, man. Again, family, do me a favor, go over, man. Give us a follow there, man. Give your boy Dolph a follow on Substack, but also let's follow us on the Come On In channel too, man. Let me get that one up there so y'all can see. There we go, right there. Come On In Sports Network and Dolph Jackson on Substack. Follow us again. We just started this our Substack channel. Gonna have weekly articles and videos up for you, family. We're gonna be starting a newsletter. Again, shout out to Mr. Lawrence Foster, our chief editor. He is in charge of all the media relations there for us here. He's the one that started Substack for us, man, and he does a great job and really appreciate him. But again, family, that's go do it for the show tonight, family. I want to thank everybody for joining us. I'm your boy Dolph Jackson, man. This is the Keeping It Real Who Dat Sports podcast, baby. We in the building, baby. The Saints 2025 season officially is in the book. The Senior Bowl is officially in the book. Draft season is here, baby. It is here. Draft season, but before draft season, free agency. So look for us. We will be having a free agent special on the Come On In Sports Network coming up. So keep those notifications handy and ready, family. We will let you know the day and time of that. Lawrence, myself, and the guys, Nonfiction, Zach, Carlos, Coach Rock, Jeremy, Cowboy, we all are going to be working hard to bring you guys some really good content. Again, we will be having articles up weekly on our Substack channel. So please go over, please follow us, please subscribe, family. Again, thank everybody for being here. And for those who don't know, this show here is brought to you by...
This is a special presentation brought to you by the Come On In Sports Network.
All right, we got some more family members that came in, man. Y'all know I be chopping up people name and stuff, man. Trauma D6618 say peeps. Cornell Tate paired with Chris O. Bruh. And Ed Vele, man, listen, I ain't mad at that, bro. I am not mad at that, bro. That would be lovely, bro. That would be lovely. Listen, let's say the Saints do. Cornell Tate is the selection the Saints go with. If Jeremiah Love somehow isn't, if Jeremiah Love is somehow there, you take him. I got a feeling Jeremiah Love's gonna be in Tennessee, family. I do. I don't think they let him get past. I don't think he gets past Tennessee. But if Tate is the selection to go with Olave, Vele, and listen, we got the wild card. All right. Is it what, a doomsday? Not a doomsday. The former Washington receiver we got that we traded for who was hurt. We still got him. So, I mean, that wide receiver room is young. We know he's talented. We know Olave is talented. We know Devon Vele is talented. Who do they bring in the draft? Is it Cornell Tate? Hey, he's letting it be known. He'll love to play with Tyler Shough. Did you hear any players screaming last year to come play in New Orleans with the quarterbacks we had? You didn't. And I'm telling you, Tyler Shough's emergence in the last 9 games of the season has drastically changed the trajectory of the New Orleans Saints organization going forward. And it's in a positive light. With that being said, family, I'm your boy, Dolph Jackson. This is the Keeping It Real Who Dat Sports podcast. We're brought to you by the Come On In Sports Network. And y'all know how we get out of here, baby. Love and Who Dat. And we out. Have a good evening.
Yeah. We back, baby. Keeping it real. Who Dat Sports Pod. Dolph Jackson, Coach Rock. Presented by the Come On In Sports Network. Who Dat Nation, how you doing? Come on in. Take a seat, it's all good, you're amongst friends. Breaking news, interviews, Saints Juice. Open lines up just for you. 9th Ward, 10th Ward, where you at? 12th Ward, 15, where you at? 3rd Ward, 17, where you at? 9th Ward, all the way in the back. Uptown, baby, downtown, baby. Everybody represent black and gold, baby. Uptown, baby, downtown, baby. Everybody represent black and gold, baby. Who that? Who that? Who that say?